Hi guys, I'm Kunal Jeevan Patwa and you're listening to The Talking Stage. In today's episode, we'll be privileged to have Mr. R. Mukundan with us. He is the current CEO and MD of Tata Chemicals, a true Tata veteran serving the group since 1990 and has been appointed as the CEO for the first time in 2008. Since then, he has taken the company to a global scale and the company now serves in countries like the Kenya, US and the UK. He has been an alumnus of IIT Ri in electrical engineering and then an MBA at FMS Delhi. He has also studied at Harvard for professional degrees. So, in this podcast, we'll be talking about various topics. Some of them include the trajectory of India, the chemical industry in India, and much more. I can assure you that if you stick to the end, this conversation will definitely bring you clarity. So, let's hop into it. Hi guys, I'm Kunal Jeevan Patwa from the Talking Stage. Today I'll be having the privilege of hosting Mr. Mukundan. He is a polymath, excelling in various fields like engineering, business administration, and hospitality. The success of Tata Chemicals is a testament to his business acumen. So let's hop into the podcast with Mr. Mukundan. So, sir, starting with your early life, you did your engineering from IIT Roorkee, followed by an MBA at FMS Delhi. What was your motivation behind doing electrical engineering from IIT Roorkee?
Nothing major in a sense that at that point of time when we all got out of school or college, engineering was a good option for most people. You either became an engineer, doctor, or an accountant or a lawyer. So I went the traditional way, right? And it so happened that of the several exams I gave, I got admitted into University of Roorkee. There were some colleges in South which also I got admitted, but this was closer home. I grew up in Delhi, so it was a 3 hour or 4 hour bus ride in those days. So I joined Roorkee, and they gave electrical department, so I joined electrical department. There was no discussion, choice about this whole piece. It was not that I came with a grand plan that I wanted to be in a specific department, but certainly this was amongst the few, let's say, lines of engineering which I would have loved to do anyway, whether it's mechanical, electrical, or stuff like that. So I was glad that I got what I wanted.
That's amazing. So, sir, you are heading the companies. So, you're the CEO of Tata Chemicals. So, what made you traverse from electrical engineering to chemical industry? How could I relate?
The broad journeys after engineering, I think I did. I think I gave something like 3 or 4 interviews and at the campus, and I think of the companies which I got selected, 3 of them were Tata companies. And unfortunately, when I wanted to join one of them, the date of joining, I felt sick, massively sick, and I sought an extension saying that can I join later. But many of these companies, the GET program starts on a specific date.
Yeah.
And either you're in or you're not in the sense that they can probably wait for a couple of days, but I just couldn't travel. So that I was stuck in Delhi. And by the way, Delhi FMS was having admissions. So I got selected. So I continued in Delhi and did my MBA. So it was maybe an event. I would have done MBA at some point, but why I did immediately without working was mainly because of event which just happened. And after finishing MBA, even before finishing MBA, because in those days Tata Administrative Service used to come outside the campus, in the sense that there were companies which would come during the placement season, but TAS was always outside the placement season, since they came before, and they held their interviews not in campus but in Taj Hotel, and my exam and group discussion interview was scheduled in Taj Mansingh in Delhi. They had a great coffee shop called Machan. I thought maybe I will get free coffee there, so I ended up going, and I was the last person to be interviewed there because I think in the sequence of the selection, so I had a very good conversation. I really think I was the only one who was selected out of that entire batch with a full day work sent to Bombay, and I came here, cleared the task, so joined Tata. So really, this is all a series of. But I had other jobs also on hand. So because TAS was outside campus, you could also get other jobs. So I did have, and I chose to join Tata's, and it's been a great journey up till now.
Yeah. So, sir, your decision to do the MBA, did it evolve organically with time during your bachelor's, or was it externally influenced? Because in our college, there is a general stereotype that we go for masters in science abroad or in India.
Yeah, so I think most of the colleagues of mine who are my classmates, they did do GRE. They did go abroad. I, for one reason, I wanted to work, which is why I gave the interviews to with Indian companies. And as I said, four out of the four, three were Tata companies, if I recollect correctly, which I got a job in, and they were good engineering companies, and they are all one of the best ones in the list today. If you look at Bombay Stock Exchange, they would be listed in the top 50 in any case. Right. So, in some sense. But I could not join because of whatever the date was. I'd taken an acceptance in one of the companies, and then so I ended up doing MBA. I would have done MBA in any case at some point of time. That was always my ambition, and the reason being that I was clear that I did not want to spend my time. The view, if you get into masters, is that you get an expertise in a narrow field, yes, and that expertise is so good it prepares you for the next level, which is to do research. And I didn't see myself someone who would be able to spend time in research. I wanted more to do with the way to make the business and products successful in the marketplace. And business management was a natural outcome at some point, but it so happened to happen immediately.
Yes, makes sense. Sir, you were appointed as the CEO of Tata Chemicals in 2008 for the first time. That was the time of Lehman crisis. So how did you face the challenge?
So I think the Lehman crisis was unfolding when much before I became the CEO. I only saw the after effect of it. So as far as I was concerned, I think that 2008, I think August or so, I was shipped to Harvard to do advanced management program by the company. They sponsored me for, and they paid for the full cost, so for whatever it was, and it was a great experience. So I landed in HBS, and second day of our classes, we were huddled around the television screen there, and we were seeing Lehman Brothers crisis unfold in front of us as we were in the classroom. And I still remember walking into the lecture, which was on finance, and the professor said, "All of you must be fairly distracted." And but then he said, "This is a great moment for all of you, because when you get back, your company will be confronted with a crisis which comes maybe once a decade or once in 6-7 years. It doesn't come very often, and it's going to be a good testing ground, because all of you are going to lead a business or lead. Some of you are already leading businesses. So, and I think what we learned about there, how do you sort of use two cornerstones of a company? One is what is the value system a company stands for, and what is the strategy a company is adopting, and thirdly, the other cornerstone being what is the culture you have. So strategy is all the detail, what you adopt to do overcome a crisis or look at an opportunity. But the two cornerstones, or let's say two bookends, as I call, one is values and the other one is culture. In that space, I think Tata's are very well positioned, because our values are actually encrypted in the thing which we say that we will fundamentally do everything which we do will be leadership with trust. So we just want to lead, but at the same time we want to earn the trust. So whatever our value systems are, they're going to be around that. And our fundamental ambition or mission, as you call it, and the purpose which we wanted sort of is also embodied with this point which we say to improve quality of life. So effectively, I think while our mission is to improve quality of life and our what we want to achieve, and each business does it in its own way, yes, I think our approach is to say we must do that in a way we earn trust of our customers, trust of our employees, trust of our stakeholders, but at the same time do it in a way that we are seen to lead the way in each of the areas we choose to be in. So that sets a very high bar, and you then can look at each crisis and work with the team to move forward. It's not that we had all the answers. We didn't have all the answers, and I think we were very clear that when me and my CFO sat down together at that point of time, we had to quickly focus on cash flow, quickly focus on balance sheet. As a company, we were more focused on profit and loss statements, but these were key things. So working capital became very important. Debt reduction became very important. And I think we undertook a program called ADAPT, which was fundamentally to save about 100 crores of cash flow, not costs, cash flow. And I think the company, we gave ourselves about 6 months to save, but the company did it probably in a couple of months. So we had to up the ambition because so that we could address the issues of debt repayment and other points. I think we came out of that fine. We came out of that stronger, and that was mainly because we struck very core to our values of saying that we will work in a way that while we lead, we'll also earn the trust of our stakeholders.
Right. So, sir, talking about you as the CEO, what do you think are the qualities which made you the CEO of Tata Chemicals? What are some key components?
I think we give too much credit to the CEO and the person who sits there. The point I'm saying is that at the end of the day, the CEO is the representative of the organization. But really, one of the key qualities of CEO is to be able to sense what the external stakeholders really need, and from that sense sit with and looking at the capabilities of the company to say how do we use the capabilities of the company to address the needs and what the external world is telling us, and calibrate that to in a way that a company can address it. If it's an opportunity, seize the opportunity. If it is a challenge, then address the challenge. And the only thing which a CEO has at his hand is his team, and so you have to address it with the people. And the only thing you can control very quickly or quietly is the capital. How do you spend the money? How do you spend? So where do you direct the time of the people? Where do you direct energies of the people? Where do you direct the money, resource, and other resources you have? And I think the key thing being that as a person, you may not have all the answers. Are you able to work with a team which has capabilities, which has strengths in different areas, and work with them to help them and use their capabilities to deliver the company's outcomes? So in a sense, CEO is in a way a participant, but at the same time, CEO is also someone who is able to listen and put everything together like an orchestrator. Keep an eye on the outcome, that what has been said, is it being delivered? And all these roles, the multiple roles which you play, you're a spokesperson of the company, you are also the someone who takes the final call. After you take the call, there's no one else to sort of come in the way, right? It's your call at the end of the day. So sometimes you have to live with your decision, and circumstances may change, but then the key thing is, can you rally the team together to address what has gone right, what has gone wrong?
Right. So, sir, talking about, I think communication also plays a large role in leadership positions. So, were you proficient in English from like early 10th or 12th, or you developed it along the times?
So I don't know what proficiency means. I think your natural language of expression always is going to be mother tongue.
Yes.
And I think we all have this point that in India we are blessed because in some of the parts of India where Hindi is the mother tongue and Hindi is the spoken language. But if you look at many people I was born in a Tamil family, so Tamil is my mother tongue. But I grew up in Delhi, so I know Hindi well. And but that becomes your natural way you think about issues, right? And you picture the issues, and then you overlay that with so many times you're translating from one language to another. It's always going to be a challenge.
Yes.
But as you start to use and communicate and engage with your thoughts, I think it becomes much more easy to express oneself in in English, and but more than English, I would say, whether you take English, whether you take any language, whether it's Hindi or Gujarati or Tamil, the key piece, in my view, is that the art of communication is stating what needs to be stated with authenticity, but in a manner that everyone in the room can understand.
Right.
90% of the time, what happens if you're stating in a way that the people closest to you understand, but I think if the person who's just joined the company, if it's going to be the management trainee, engineering trainee, or if it is going to be someone who is, let's say, assistant to some manager here, or the canteen person who serves us tea or coffee, if they can't understand some of the things you don't have to communicate with them, but your language has to be simple, so people can understand, and you have to state the facts. People want to know the facts, and you have to be authentic. There's no point, at least in my sense, I don't think there's any need to sort of not tell the way it is. But the way you sort of communicate is always with a view to improve.
Right.
You can communicate the same point by saying that, listen, it is bad, or you can say, listen, I know we are here, but can we do this to improve? So then people can take the point where you are, because the last thing anybody needs is to know that, the place I'm in is not a great position, because they already know it in the heart of hearts. So I think that becomes a key issue. Second is that when you have an opportunity, how do you bring about enthusiasm? And even chasing any opportunity, even looking at any, let's say, positive outcomes, there will be risks which will be missed out. How do you sort of communicate those risks? So end of the day, I think it is going to be what I call, what I read long time ago in a very one of the magazines. It still remains with me. Communication is just ABC, which is accuracy, brevity, and clarity. So you got to be accurate, you got to be brief, you got to be clear. So if you do this ABC principle, and I tell my team all the time that if what you write, what you speak, I think you just follow these three principles.
That's amazing advice. So sir, what advice would you give to your younger self, like your 20-year-old self? One advice you will be giving to your 20-year-old self.
My own 20-year self.
Yeah.
I think many times we take ourselves too seriously. I think I wish I had not taken myself seriously many times and let it.
So you mean like going hard on yourself? Like in what ways?
Yeah. You see, the point is, many of us, when we go home, or when we reflect, and we say that, and there's always 20 other ways you could have done a point, right? And you have missed that point, which could have been much better, more elegant. And I think then you start to think about it, why did I, what did I, and all that. I think you need to be less hard and not as serious, because I think there is always a second pass, there's always a third pass at the goal. And I think at that point, when the second and third pass comes, at least if you can execute well, I think it is fine. Let's say the first pass didn't go well. I mean, so that's what I meant by taking oneself seriously. And certainly, I think if you were to sort of say that if one thing which I think everyone must do, in a business context, I'm not saying in any other context, I think there is never enough engagement which you can do with your customers, because you learn always from your customers, and there's never ever enough engagement which you can do with your team, because you always are learning from the team. So you cannot say I've done enough, because in that there's a lot more to. And lastly, I think this is a very unique a time in history where I think there are 2 or 3 substantial forces which are on us, and the younger self would always have wanted that to have been the time. This is not about me, this is about the time, right? For example, I remember when we were studying, we had to send a punch card into the computer room to run a program, and you have to book time. Today you can write most complicated program. You don't even write. In fact, I think the chat GPT writes for you. So this is a time of technology has moved ahead, so much ahead. Right. And for us, 8086 chip was 8-bit chip. I mean, 8-bit. If you tell anyone, I mean, they're going to say, "Oh, you must be living in Stone Age." But that's what we studied in. So it's a great opportunity for anyone wanting to look at this force which is with us, whether it's a creative people, whether it's science, whatever. I think this tool is a magical tool which I think my 20-year-old self would have really loved to have. And the second one, of course, is I think every industry is transforming. And I think at that point of time, we never took things like, is this part of, how much is the water intensity in the process, or let us say, how much is the carbon intensity in a process? Is plastic good? Is electronic waste good? The thing about what I call sustainability as a force, green as a force, I think was not very central at that point of time. At that point of time, it was just the sheer growth itself was great. So to that extent, I think it would have been much more sobering at that point of time to sort of look at. So two pieces which I think the younger self would have enjoyed now would be sustainability and the technology. But really, what I also see is that the world is having a lot more opportunities now. Not that we didn't have opportunities, but the world certainly has a lot more opportunities. And I think if one is constantly open to learn, it does not matter whether it's 20 years older self looking at it, it's still an enjoyable time.
Yes. So sir, you have seen it all, like starting in 1990 when the GDP was like around $300 billion to 3.5 trillion. So what do you project India as in the next decade or next 2 decades?
So if you take the trajectory as what happened in the last 30 years, it's gone 10x.
Yeah.
There's no reason to believe it won't go 10x. But it won't be the same 10x. That's all I would say. I think the way the 10x would be done would be, as I said, a lot more productivity, a lot more green, a lot more technology. So things will be different. But certainly, I think the growth will be there. That's one way to look at it. But if you said, listen, I want to shorten the horizon and say I want to look at it as 10 years, I think the next 3.5 might come very, very clearly in. If you grow at 7%, I think it will come in 10 years' time in any case.
Yeah.
So what India did in 75 years, or let's say 80 years of our life after independence, I think we'll do in 10 years. So really what this generation is going to look, managers who are coming into workforce, by the time they go on to lead, they go on to become business leaders or leaders in their own sphere, they would see compressed time frame. In the sense that we saw that same effect over 30 years. You're going to see that in 10 years. So that's a great opportunity, but also it's a great challenge because are we ready for it?
Right.
Because that means stretching and sort of reaching out beyond what maybe we have done. So hopefully, I think the system is so good now that because everything is improving over a period of time, that it is able to do, because there are a lot more people. You look at the number of people who are coming through engineering college, a lot more people who are coming through high school, graduate school. I think that number is huge now. We didn't have so much of talent. Our talent pool is big. So in a sense, I think you're going to see growth which is compressed, but you're also going to see growth which is of a much bigger magnitude. See, 300 to 3 trillion is one journey. 3 trillion to 30 trillion is another journey, right? But it is a journey which hopefully happens for us, and it will happen if we keep ourselves focused, as I say, building a bulk of the businesses, which is embedding two things. As I again go back to the start of what I mentioned, do we have a clear mission and vision of what we want to achieve? And are we building the right culture?
Right.
If these two are in place, I think rest is all detail.
Right. Sir, so owing to the China 1+ policy, do you think that India is overestimating itself to capitalize the production, or we are on the right track?
So whether we call it China +1 or India +1, or we call it a supply chain opportunity, whichever way you want to put it, I think the global supply chains are reconfiguring. There is no doubt in anybody's mind. I think there is a There's a movement to friendshore. There's a movement not to rely on concentrated supply source, and there's a movement towards what I call resilience. That is happening, and in many places it is happening with ferocity, which I think even we ourselves are not able to cope with, or we should prepare ourselves better. That's what I would say. So whether we like it or not, there in my view the all the momentum is with India, because we have the demographics to go with it, we have the talent depth to go with it, we have the infrastructure today which is being built. Like uh, I mean, I just drove down from Nasik, but today morning I went at 4 a.m. to Nasik and came back here, and I had a board meeting, and then I'm meeting you. So this would not have been possible, and there's an alternate way to come back, because somebody said you board Vande Bharat, you'll reach probably earlier. So these possibilities didn't exist before. More than that, I want to say about a month ago, I drove down from Bombay, went to Pune, had a meeting, hit Aurangabad, had a meeting there. Then on Mahamar came to Nasik, had a meeting, and I was back in my bed at night.
Wow.
So this is this is possible only because infrastructure exists, right? And you have the possibility to. So your productivity is so much more now. So I think all the levers, whether we talk about the physical asset, whether it is there to sort of support and compete in the world, the human asset, talent, both in terms of capacity and capability, it exists. And it is also at the right demographic, in the sense that the talent is not, it's fairly young.
Yeah, youth.
Yeah, and I think the world will come, and we have to be humble, we have to be welcoming, we have to treat everyone who comes here with respect, because they are bringing their business here, they are our customers. And so you've seen what has happened in electronics. I mean, if you look at India is to import all the smartphones today. Most smartphones in India are assembled and made here.
Even the defense sector.
Yeah, defense sector, each sector. So I think this is going to only move forward, and chemical sector especially has huge opportunity. India will be, in my view, the green chemical and green hydrogen, green energy capital of the world, along with, in some ways, I think only if I look logically from science perspective, maybe Australia, Saudi Arabia, and India would probably be the three best places. So if you're in these three places, you really have a huge opportunity. So Saudi Arabia will be right there, very close to us, and is going to compete with us. But what we have is we've got the depth of talent and people in numbers, which I think is a bit of a issue in some of these countries. So we will have our chance, and we have to make our chance. And really, it is up to the entrepreneurs, up to the business houses, up to the government policy makers, that they all play as one team and drive the change.
Yes. I hope we see the stars aligning. So, sir, as we saw, you have a very busy schedule. So, what do you do to invigorate your body and mind after a very busy or a long day of work?
So, if you ask me now, it's a very clear, contained process every day, right? So, certainly, I watch my number of steps. I just would want to at least complete 10,000 steps a day. Okay. I do 10 or 15 minutes of yoga in the morning every day. Today I did not do. 4 o'clock I had to go, so I just left. I woke up at 3 and 4 I was on the road. Most of the days I'm in town, I do that. And if you say what do you sort of why not? I think once in a while, short holidays. Short holiday is what I take. And when I say short holiday, in the sense that I think I'm not into this taking 1 month off or something. Maybe a week, maybe 3 or 4 days, but short bursts of holidays, which to sort of tune into the world and reflect on what is possible.
Yes. So, sir, talking about Tata Chemicals. So we have businesses into inorganic chemicals, agri-chemicals, and nutra-chemicals as well. So are we planning to go into batteries or EVs or that sort of things?
So we have fundamentally an R&D lab in Pune, which does work on what I would call process synthesis chemistry as well as into nanotechnology, biotechnology, and basically all structural chemistry pieces. And we got a lab. We got two labs in Pune, Bangalore. One doing on process synthesis and formulations, and also a lab which does biotechnology for mostly plants, in the sense that hybrids and stuff like that. So we have our scientists constantly working on solutions, and the kind of issues we are working in those, using the capabilities we have, are fundamentally used to address things like energy, water, food. So in these systems, we have done work. We have done indigenous technology development of lithium as well as sodium batteries. The point about when do we want to enter the business, the Tata Group already has promoted a battery company called TATA'S. Yes. They'll be doing the battery piece. Our role actually is to give the chemicals and the cathode materials and active materials for that battery business. If we are competitive, we have a solution for them. So we are always looking at an opportunity. But if you say that, are we going to fully enter? Right now it is still in, let's say, development phase. And as and when we decide, we would sort of make those announcements. But our intent is clear. We want to engage with that space. It is an important space for us to work. This company has actually worked on 2-3 spaces in energy in the past. One is in the area of bioethanol. We set up a unit in Nanded for sweet sorghum based bioethanol. In fact, today my Nasik visit was on sweet sorghum based bioethanol, and that plant we had to shut down because unfortunately when we set it up, we didn't have the ethanol policy of Government of India, which is now available. So the blending policy is now so the circumstances have changed. So we are reviewing whether there's a possibility to look at it. Our plant is still there, standing in Nanded, which we can look at some point. It is not a full-scale plant. It is a proving plant. After it proves, you can build the business. Second was in the area of biodiesel. Again, I think we have done a lot of work in the area of biodiesel. So, but today, for example, airlines are looking at sustainable aviation fuel, which is partly very close to the biodiesel area. So that work is going on there. So we are working on 3-4 trajectories on fuel or energy. What we enter with, what we do, I think will be matter of our R&D scientists and business opportunity as it comes up.
Okay. So sir, talking about plants, I'm doing a GAT at a company, and it's an implant training. So I've seen the plants, how they are like made, and I feel personally that it is a very arduous task to set up a plant. So sir, could you walk us upon like how to start with the setting up a plant, and what is the process exactly? How much time does it take? The capex?
So in terms of plant, if you ask an engineer, they will tell you the fastest you can put it up. Maybe some small plant which is not too complex with not too complex PFDs can come up maybe in 6 months, 8 months, if nothing is a constraint, right? There's no constraint on approvals. There's no constraint on some of the critical equipment. But if there's all the constraints thrown in, it should not take more than 36 months. I mean, it is very rare that it goes beyond 3 years to set up a large-scale unit. I mean, if I were to set up a 1 million ton soda ash plant, which is a mega scale plant with almost $500 million or let's say 0.6 or 0.7 billion capex, it's not going to be more than 36 months once the environment clearances are there. Yes. I think that's another issue which it can vary from country to country. But the thing which we focus on when we do design is that firstly, the design, it must be designed for safety. Right. I think for us, the paramount parameter which we look at is what are all the things we can put in place right at the design stage itself, so that there's a process safety inbuilt, and there is also the production safety which is inbuilt, which means that you have no containment issues, you've got no runaway reactions. If they're there, you try to sort of control them as much as you can, so that at the design phase you don't end up with thermal runaways and stuff like that. And the next to safety is we really look at things which are going to be impacting us 5 to 10 years from now. We have a commitment by 2030 to reduce carbon by 30%. So we have to absolutely look at anything we put up, whether it is going to add to the carbon load or reduce the carbon load. It's part of the design thinking itself. Similarly, I think for us, circularity is pretty critical. This was not part of the thinking about the design of so now increasingly we're asking question. It is not about sending zero material to landfill, but any material, is it moving in a, how much of that is recycled in a circular manner so that it's a useful product for somewhere else, so that it's used somewhere else. So we have actually now changed the whole design process to incorporate these things. Then of course it must be easy to operate, easy to run. So I have seen, for example, our plant in carbon capture plant in UK, the number of operators are zero. There is no operator. It's run off. In fact, you can run it off your mobile phone because that software is
Totally
loaded.
hands-free.
Yeah, the system has analytics lying on top of its own sensors, so it sort of self-corrects and self-learns itself, and is able to sort of safe shut down and safe start on its own, including the CO2 dispatches are done by a chute which comes down. It sort of senses whether the truck is in the right place, and sort of does it completely automatically. So that's one end of the story. The other end of the story is that we have seen in India, for example, with the increasing technology input at the plant site, let's say around 500,000 ton of salt plant used to have something like 30-40 workmen at some given point of time. Today, that plant has in a shift about 4 people, and 3 shifts. We're talking about something like 12 people running that entire plant. So we have actually seen employee productivity go up because a lot of digital technology, operation technology has really come in. So I think the plant of the future is that you want to take the risk out of any risk to be faced by human being. So the only way you can do that is you completely eliminate and put them in some different spot, not at the spot where work is on. So areas which are tough for us, we've got an underground mine in US which we run. So it's going to be a bit more time till we can completely automate, have autonomous vehicles doing all the mining operation. But because some of the amount of data load you can take down underground is very difficult, and it's very expensive. So, but we'll reach a point where the data load can go, and you are able to run with very low latency these vehicles underground. So we are trying every time what can we bring in terms of technology in our business process. Some are ahead, some are on the way, and some really have to wake up to make the change. So we have all types of operations in our company, and I always tell our team that let's at least start to make some change, because if we don't make that change, we will be irrelevant tomorrow. So clearly, that's a task for everybody in business, that you either adapt and adopt, adapt to the new environment and adopt all the things which we are given. Otherwise, you sort of perish.
Yes. Yes. Sir, so is there any one moment in your life which was truly pivotal in your career? So it was a pivotal moment in your career.
So I think you learn a lot. You learn a lot in every place. For example, I would say that working in a small footwear unit in TATA'S, which was only 4 crores of turnover, gave you 100% end-to-end view of business. During that time, I used to stay 6 months overseas in Germany, and then because I was part of the design and sales team for the footwear unit, and I had to. That was the only way you could sell. You had to, because you could, if there were not enough flights. Flights were very expensive. You went there, you spent 6 months, came back, and then went again for 6 months. So you learned a lot. So I think in terms of why customer engagement is important, why customer comes at center, sort of you pick that up very early on.
Yeah.
Then from there I moved to a startup which was like we set up an entire auto component business in the group called Tata Auto Comp. I was the second employee in that company. My managing director was the first employee, and We had zero turnover when I went. We had zero capital. We had zero. Most everything was. But when I left that, we were probably close to about 1,000 crores. We had 11 joint ventures, and so working in a fresh new idea is a great place for young people because you grow very very fast, very rapidly. So by the time I'd finished my 5 year stint with them and I came into Tata Chemicals. I had the experience to work with the best and to set up a project to work with very very demanding customers in auto sector, and it it gave you a complete view of how to build. And I was running corporate planning and projects there. Then in Tata Chemicals, I think while I've enjoyed many many stints, to me every company has its own soul in one place where the heart of the company, the soul of the company rests. For this company, the soul of this company is in a place called Mithapur, where I was there for 18 months, and so you can go there to say that I will make change to Mithapur, but actually what happens, Mithapur changes you by the time you leave, and then you sort of say, listen, I came here thinking I want to bring about change, but this place has completely changed you. So each one starts to change you. So in Mithapur, the kind of team spirit, the kind of at least what the team did at that point of time to because when I went there, they just finished, I think 2 quarters ago, they made the biggest loss ever in their history. And they had a fire before that, they had an earthquake, the plant was running on DG sets which were hired, and from there to go on to become the most profitable side of the company. I think it's really the team which sort of had the fighting spirit to say that we will compete, we'll be competitive, we'll work. It may look like a distant goal, but every year we'll keep improving. So we may not be the most automated plant. We may not be the, let's say, in every metric, best in class productivity. But if you put it all together, we probably would beat everyone, because it's about not having the best forward, not having the best goalkeepers, not about having the best midfield. But as a team, you are able to sort of almost display outcome which is because it comes together to be much better than the rest. So I think that again, and it continues to be a site of that nature. And really, I would say each piece of the career was interesting in its own right. And then you say pick one, then it becomes very difficult, extremely difficult, because then you are saying, what may have been, what may not have been.
So everything shaped you.
Each part of the journey shapes. See, I think end of the day, we don't realize how much every interaction shapes us. And so I'll tell you, I had a driver called More in Mithapur. And I used to say, if you want to learn excellence, please learn from More. He lives in a village he's retired, he lives in a village between Bombay and Chiplun. And he calls me even today on my birthday. He remembers that. He's a blessed soul. But if you look at it, every road trip I would take, he would first ask me what time you're leaving, what time you want to reach there. Then he would tell me, no, you cannot, this is the time you need. He's very clear about then you should start early. How many stops you will make on the way. Every 1 hour, he will stop the vehicle, check the tires. He will actually literally stop it on the side of the road. He will check everything, inspect, and come back and sit. So he would say that I used to ask him, why do you stop here? He said, the places I am stopping, there's help available. If I find something suspect, I better change it in these places rather than, get into a place where you really need help. And these were not times of mobile phones, and you really, the ease of communication was very different.
Right.
And his car was, his vehicle was always top class maintained. It always sounded the best. And he had deep passion about the work he used to do. So, and he would not drink coffee, tea, he would just sip water. So all through his journey, he would not eat. So he would say, once you reach the dinner, then I'll have my meal. That tells you about, a person so dedicated, so passionate. He was getting the same wage any other driver would be getting. But, and this goes, I used to tell my team, if you want to see somebody excellent performer here, you should watch this. So excellence is not limited to managers, leaders. It's displayed at every level. You can spot it when you see it.
Right, right. Sir, so I have a personal question. So many of us, like even these two and my other colleagues, they told me to ask you that. So we have three options ahead of us. Either we'll do a master's, we'll opt for a job, or we'll be doing a MBA. But we are not truly unequivocal about what we'll be doing. So how do you?
Fourth one is you can start your own.
Yeah, so that is there, but इतना नहीं आता है वो. Some of the people, like it's like three of it majorly. So how do you choose what you have to do? Because now at the end of third year we'll have to make a choice, and we have to lock it in. So what advice would you give us about choosing our further career paths?
See, I can only say this to you that from each person has his own take on this, because depending on your risk profile, family circumstances, it'd be difficult to arrive at why a decision is being taken.
Yeah.
But certainly, I think if you put all your choices which were in front of you, you have to address two things. Why did you pick the one, and why did you leave the others? You need to sort of list them very clearly. And many times it's not easy, it's difficult. And finally, you have to answer one question: which one, if I don't pick now, I'll have the greatest regret. You don't want to see. It is one thing to try hard, and then let's say the circumstances so turn out that you have to move a different path. But if you're so passionate about something, why would you not pick it up now? Because you invest a lifetime in that passion. I think at least then you have a long runway to invest and check. So if you say four things, which is start your own, which you're saying, listen, not many may be picking that. You come from an institute which I truly admire, because it has produced the maximum entrepreneurs in chemical sphere, much more than our entire universe of chemical engineering universities together. But whether to join to do masters or to do MBA, I think MBA, now reflecting back, I think one can appreciate a lot more if you have few years of work with you, because then you have seen, then you can relate to some of the things which are being told in the class. So I think we should probably be then choosing between either going narrow and deep, or saying that, listen, I learned the craft, can I try it out in the field?
Yes.
Both are important. The narrow and deep is equally important, because without narrow and deep, you won't have change. The tech changes and deep changes. So I would simply say that's where it is. When I was there, I was very clear that I want what I didn't want to work for. I also was clear about what I wanted to work for. So to me, peace of mind at the end of the day was very important. So it would have been either this company, or it would have been a company very similar to this company, where you can always look at yourself in the mirror every day, in the morning, evening, and say you did the right thing. So that is very important. The second reason I chose to stay back, because certainly GRE was an option, and it will sound a little odd that how you reach this kind of thinking. I felt that I got access to education which was far beyond what I invested in. So our fees were about 300 or 400 rupees a semester. We also got a scholarship equal to 400 rupees, which paid for all your expenses during the semester. So if you're in top 10%, you got scholarship straight away. No questions asked. You got 400 bucks to you, debited to your account. So in effect, it was almost, I would say, paid for by the taxpayers of India, right? And I thought that at least I owe something back here to put my time here, to give my time. That's the reason I stayed back. Otherwise, even I would have gone and given GRE and taken that Air India jumbo jet to whichever faraway land one had to go. But not that my classmates who went there did anything wrong. I think they chose a path. I chose a path. And I think 35 years down, when we meet together as classmates, I think each one feels very happy about where they are. So I think that's important, because you really have chosen a path which you want, which you believe in, and I think that's the way I feel about it. If there is a little bit of contribution you've given through your effort back to the investment the country has made or the society has made in you, I think it's always a great reflection.
Yes. Thank you for the prudent advice. So, sir, are you ready for a quick fire round?
Sure, go ahead.
Sir, what is your comfort food?
I think all said and done, it's curd rice.
Oh. Fiction or non-fiction?
Non-fiction.
Particularly like books or movies?
Mostly books.
Books.
Mostly books.
Favorite books?
Many, but right now I'm reading *Sapiens*.
Sapiens, okay. Then favorite sport?
Favorite sport has to be cricket, the national sport.
Yes. Mountain or beaches?
Both, but certainly I would say that if I'm with family, beaches. If I'm alone, the mountain.
What is your favorite place, like tourist, regarding a tourist spot?
So nothing major, but I want to tell you that to me, the most frequented place I've been is Goa, and the other place which really is Uttarakhand.
Oh, yeah. Beaches and mountains. Nice. What is your least favorite part of being a CEO?
Least favorite part of being a CEO? I think the least favorite part is that you are insulated too much from what may be the reality. So I think you have to really work hard to get the reality out.
Okay.
Because and the reason I say that is very simple, because I have this view that if something is working for me, it doesn't mean it's working for everybody. Because there's a bunch of people who will make sure it works for me always. So my worry is that is it working for everybody in the company? Is it working for the fresh entrant in the company? Is it an easy part or a struggle for them? I think that if it's easy for them, it's also easy for me. But I think the fact is that are you getting authentic information in as much as you are being authentic?
So, sir, do you work on the ground, like communicate on the ground frequently?
Yeah, of course, you need to do that. You need to be in the plant, you need to meet your team at the plant, you need to meet with your frontline workforce. You will get best inputs as you're walking by it, and you speak to the security guard 2 minutes, kya hua? He'll tell, he may just tell you that yesterday, sir, just briefly एक बड़े बड़े घटना से बच गए हम लोग. अच्छा क्या हुआ? Then you then say, okay, there could have been a safety incident here. He is telling you that how important. So it's important to just, and this is not going to come through some long discussion. It just comes automatically when they know that you are keen on it, listening to people.
So the next question is Warren Buffett or Elon Musk? As an ace investor or a serial entrepreneur?
So I think there are two different categories.
Yeah.
And I would certainly say, if I was an investor in stock market, Warren Buffett is my hero. But if someone to build something, then I think Elon Musk has built a complete ecosystem of I would call green energy and green solution, which is I think at least became the catalyst to disrupt the world. At the same time, what he has done with SpaceX again is incredible in terms of its outcomes. So if it is to be an investor to make returns in stock market, be like Buffett. But if you want to build something, show the same passion and at least courage of conviction, which he has shown.
The next question is Hollywood or Bollywood?
I would say that if you really want entertainment, Bollywood.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
Yeah.
It can be many, right? Right now, for example, I just came and saw Mission Impossible.
Oh, yeah.
So we do end up going to to the movie hall very often. Post-COVID, I've not been, but I think pre-COVID, we were there almost every weekend.
Do you listen to songs?
Yeah, that's the calming effect of what you need in the evenings.
What was the toughest decision of your career up till now?
Toughest decision of my career.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, but my toughest decision was I think when my boss offered me a role to run either a business or a plant when I was in Tata Auto Components, and I had to say no to it. It was really, really difficult decision. But I think when next time again I was told I must go and run a plant, I didn't turn back and bat an eyelid. I went and did it. So maybe it came after the first pass which I missed. But the first pass I missed, I know I missed it.
That's important, yes. Okay, sir. So, sir, one last thing is that what would you like to tell our audience? Any one thing you'd
So
like to...
I really think if you really see this is a moment, the time we are in is a time of opportunity, time of great future. And as they say, one of my favorite friend has this thing called Carpe Diem, seize the day. That's it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.